In this video, we're going to show you how to iterate over a sequence or just a plain array using for loops. So here we can see that we've got a sequence of Beatles names, and this is all the Beatles. There are a few more, but I just limited it to 5. These are the original Beatles, and Pete got later replaced by Ringo. But we're just going to keep Pete and Ringo in the Beatles here. So how do we do this? Well, we say for, and we're using a for loop, so we have to say for, and we're then going to name the variable that we want to have within inside of the code block, all right? And we're going to say for every Beatle in all of the Beatles, all right, we're going to do something. And all we're going to do is we're going to use string interpolation, just say name, and then we're just going to say Beatle. It's really as simple as that. And when we then run it, and we can see it spits that out, all right? It's really that simple, and you can see that it always sticks to the same order as well, because this is a sequence and it's first in, first out. So if you put one in on the end, that's going to be the one that's going to come out last. So whenever you iterate over it, it's always 0 index. So basically this is index 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is the benefit of being able to use a for loop on this. Now what we are also able to do is to be able to say all Beatles dot for each, and then we can do the same thing here, right? And we can say Beatle in here, and now we can do exactly the same thing. And in my personal opinion, this is a lot cleaner, because you know that this Beatle is part of this block, and I just think this is cleaner. This basically, it's my own opinion that this is cleaner. And there's a lot of people that like to do this, and maybe they don't understand what a high order function is doing. And if you look at the definition of this, you can see that it is a function that takes another function, all right, and it goes through each element of that one iterator. So this is a way that I like doing it. There are other ways of doing it with dictionaries, etc., etc., but this is the only example I'm going to show you in this video. I'm going to make another video about iterating over dictionaries, because there's a few more technicalities in this. The most important thing that you've got to remember here is that if I change the order of this one sequence, and I put it then to be George, John, Pete, Ringo, and Paul, and we run this once again, you can see George, John, Pete, Ringo, and Paul. George, John, Pete, Ringo, and Paul. That's something different what we'll see in the later video about iterating over dictionaries. They are not, you should never care about the order. So if you want to be able to iterate over something, right, and make sure it stays in order, then you should be thinking about using a for loop or a for each loop, but you need to be using a sequence, and you shouldn't be using a dictionary for this. Now there are other advantages why you would want to use a sequence over a dictionary, but that's not part of this video. But as you can see here, one of the benefits of using a sequence with the for loop and so on is that it stays in order. And if you order this in the beginning prior to looping over it, then obviously you know it's pre-ordered for your for loop to go to access the first one first and the last one last. So there we go. That's basically iterating over a sequence using a for loop. You might have thought that we could have done this video in 30 seconds, but in my opinion, there's reasons why you would want to use like all Beatles. Now, just to give you an understanding of why we'd want to maybe to iterate over because I didn't say really, we're using for loops, but you could, if you wanted to, have like other Beatles here, and this is then, or we could say here, what other Beatles here, and as you go through, you can say string here, whoops, switching languages in my head there, string here, and then here, and as we go through this, you could say then, whoops, my finger doesn't seem to be doing what I want. Other Beatles append, and then say Beatles here, and then you could put other Beatles here, and then keep going on. This would be one way of doing it, right? But you could also turn around and say all Beatles dot map, and if you come to here, once we say map, and we make it here, we can say Beatle, and this can basically just return Beatle back, right? And you could maybe then say, let's just say mapped here, and then we can then just say new Beatles here. This is why you would want to use different styles. That's what I'm trying to show you here. So if we now run this again, and you can now see that George is mapped, John is mapped, Peter's mapped, Ringo's mapped. So we've iterated just like the same through this, and we've returned a different form of the one Beatle. Now we could have done exactly this as well using, so this map is basically doing the same as this append. We're just making it a new array here. So this is different ways of being able to iterate over a sequence, and one of them is using a for loop, but what I see is better to use for each or use to map are, in my opinion, the better ways of doing it. But it's down to you. It's down to you how you want to do it. With that said, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and if you do have any feedback, concerns, questions, or anything like that, then let's have a conversation down in the comment section below. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao, and goodbye.